I would make cards on autopilot. I would see information, I would just make a card, and then I was done. The problem is that I was never asking why I might need this or how I might need to use this in the future, right? What gap is this really filling for me? If I don't know why I'm making a card, the card is unlikely to be able to help me. For example, I might miss a question because I couldn't interpret an x-ray. So what might someone do? The ideal would be that I would make a card that would actually force me to do the thing that I got the question wrong for, right? So in other words, if I can't interpret an x-ray, I should make a card that forces me to interpret an x-ray. Instead, what I see so many people do is they get a question wrong about an x-ray about pneumonia. And so then they'll make a card about pneumonia because they're comfortable making cards about concepts and other sorts of diseases. And they've made cards in the past about other diseases. And so why not just add to the pile, right? The issue is that making a card about the pathophysiology of pneumonia will not help me at all if my bottleneck is that I don't know how to read an x-ray properly. Remember, match the card type to the actual reason that you got it wrong. If it's a visual recognition problem, make an image-based card. If it's a I couldn't distinguish between two things problem, then maybe make a compare and contrast card, which we'll talk about more later. If it's a problem of I knew it in one direction, but I didn't know in the other, then you can make a reverse card, which again, we'll talk about more in a sec. Being intentional about card purpose is what separates people who grind on Anki from people who actually get real results that change their life. So once I'd figured out all these mistakes, I had to completely rebuild how I made cards. These are the 3 card types that completely changed everything for me. Card type number 1 is a concept card. This is probably the single biggest shift that I made, is learning how to tie a concept to something and use Anki as a way to reinforce it. Now, a concept card is tied to a principle, not just a fact. Instead of saying, what is X, or why does blank happen, or even how does blank work, instead, I need to make sure that the information is usable. So for example, I've created some sample notes that you might see if you were studying for, say, board exams, but in fairness, this could be used for any exam at any level, particularly ones where there are concepts that underlie these things. So think things like physics, think things like chemistry or biology, or even law, right? There's lots of principles in law and finance and business and anything else. The key is that you want to make sure that you're tying a concept to some sort of relevant other thing. I'm actually going to walk you through and show you some sample cards and how it is that I might make these into a simple card and the kind of mistakes that I was making before, and then I'll show you how it is that I would make it better. So a simple card that I could make is something like stable angina. What is it, right? And I could say, typically results from atherosclerotic, I could say as the back of it, typically results from atherosclerotic plaque, and then pain occurs in exertion and characteristic pattern, right? That would be okay. That's kind of like your standard Anki card. Instead, a better card would be to use some sort of concept where I can take the fact that I need to know, but explain it using some sort of fundamental principle that I can then use to understand and learn other things. So for example, I could say stable angina, use a core concept, use an underlying principle to explain what the characteristic pain and labs would be. The back of the card, so that would be the front of the card, that'd be the question. And then the back of the card would be something like, there is ischemia, stable angina equals demand ischemia, where at rest, there is enough blood applied to the tissue to meet the metabolic demands. However, during exertion, there is an increase in demand, and thus demand is greater than supply, and that leads to ischemia, which leads to pain, but no necrosis, and so no troponin, right? I personally like to have a detailed version and then a summary version of each of the cards. So I would say something like in the summary, I may say something like demand ischemia, but no necrosis, leads to exertional pain, but no troponin increase. So here I've taken a concept, right? I've taken the idea of ischemia, right? Ischemia is fundamentally just demand greater than supply. And I've talked a little bit more in detail of, demand ischemia versus supply ischemia. And in using this concept, now I can explain the actual idea, right? Instead of just memorizing, oh, well, it happens usually when there's a 70% or greater occlusion of the coronary artery, right? Like that's fine. It is valuable to know that. I actually use a fundamental concept that I can now use to explain tons of other things. So claudication, which is pretty much the same thing that happens in the legs, where you've got this stable occlusion of the vessel for the arteries going to feed the muscles of your legs. At rest, you have enough blood that you don't get pain, but when you're walking or when you're running or when you're exerting yourself and your leg muscles need more blood, then the demand for blood is not able to be met by the supply because you've got this stable fixed occlusion or narrowing of the vessel. And so as a consequence, you get pain when you walk, but it gets better when you are, not walking. Because I've taken the time to really understand the deeper concept, it makes it so much easier for me to not only remember and use this fact in this particular situation, but in addition to that, it helps massively for any other time that I might see anything that's related to this. It also will help me any other time for any other concept or idea or disease that's related to this particular principle. The formula that I'm following is you want to put something like the concept and then a hyphen and then say use blank, like use an underlying principle or use a concept or use the pathophysiology to explain blank, right? So something that's clinically relevant. So in this case, I would say stable angina, use an underlying principle to explain the characteristic pain and the labs and what the labs would be. So this solves the problem of just doing random closed deletions where I'm just memorizing some random thing and or the orientation of the words and where the blue text is. And it also helps with the problem of just memorizing things. When I started to actually use Anki to reinforce deeper principles and concepts, my understanding and scores really started to take off. If you're a medical student or a doctor preparing for either the USMLEs or COMLEX or one of your medical board exams, then be sure to sign up for our free 14-step program where we'll walk you through the most efficient ways for you to improve your score in a short period of time. And if you're interested in getting there faster, be sure to book a free call with our team where we'll break down what it is that's holding you back and, if it makes sense, explain how it is that we can help you to get there more efficiently.